2018 and taking responsibility for the things he did on behalf of Donald Trump. NBC News has learned Cohen is on the list of witnesses expected to be called to testify in the former president's hush money criminal trial, with jury selection set to begin on Monday in New York. Cohen, you'll remember, pleaded guilty in 2018 to campaign finance charges related to hush money payments made to two women just before the 2016 election, including adult film actress Stormy Daniels. Joining us now is legal advisor to Michael Cohen, Lanny Davis, and state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida, Dave Aronberg. Good morning to you both. Lanny, let me start with you. Can you confirm that Michael Cohen will be a witness in this trial?
Yes.
He will be a witness in this trial. So we should remind people that Michael Cohen went to jail for over a year for charges related to this. He served home confinement for another year and a half or so, almost 3 years of time served. So as you look at this, Lanny, what is this trial about exactly? We've got some distance from it, about 8 years since these payments were made in October of 2016, just before Election Day. What is this a trial about, the way you see it?
Well, let me quote Donald Trump's Justice Department's prosecutors in public when they made the charge that Donald Trump, and they wrote this, directed Michael Cohen to pay this money to Ms. Daniels. They said this case is about the impairment of democracy by allowing wealthy people such as Mr. Trump to buy silence a few days before the election to prevent the American people from gaining information they need. They described this case as about democracy. That's the Federal District of New York, Southern District of New York prosecutors in a public document, hiding in plain sight. So every time someone describes this in a disparaging way as about sex or something else, quote Donald Trump's prosecutors describing this case as seriously about the undermining of democracy.
Lanny, can Alvin Bragg in a state court in New York make that connection? Can he go beyond the narrower violations of falsifying business records and how that became a felony? Can he go beyond that to make the connection to the election?
Not so narrow. He has charged Mr. Trump 34 felony counts, and those involve 34 times that he booked as expenses for legal services what federal prosecutors working for his administration described as payments to silence somebody right before an election, which made them illegal. So the answer is yes, he can connect the federal violation of fraud to New York State crimes, at least 3 of them, and he laid them out in the indictment. But yes, Eugene, that is definitely part of the case.
So, Dave Aronberg, you're a prosecutor, and we can already figure out what the Trump defense is going to be about Michael Cohen. They're going to paint him as an untrustworthy witness. They're going to say he pleaded guilty to lying to Congress. They're going to say you shouldn't believe a word this man says. So how do you then, as the prosecution, how do you use Cohen effectively with that as the backdrop?
Yeah, Jonathan, the reason why Michael Cohen went to prison for lying and for other felonies was because he was lying for Donald Trump. And it was, as Lanny said, for the felonies that are at issue here. So he's going to try to attack Michael Cohen, but Cohen will have corroboration. That's key for prosecutors. Corroboration in the form of Stormy Daniels herself and even perhaps Hope Hicks, a loyalist to Donald Trump, including David Pecker, the head of the former National Enquirer. Also, I think that Trump will try to use the John Edwards defense, which is these payments were not for campaign reasons. They were to protect his family. But that can be easily debunked. You know, he's going to try to say, I was trying to protect Melania from finding out. But Cohen and Stormy Daniels' lawyer first spoke about this affair in 2011. So this was known for years within Team Trump, and yet no money changed hands until 2 weeks before the election. So that is really damaging. Plus, as far as falsification of business records, why do that if you're just trying to protect the information from Melania? Melania was not likely to pour over the books of the Trump Organization, which is a private company. So why falsify these internal records just to keep it secret from her, unless you knew it was a campaign election crime? But also, Trump allegedly directed Michael Cohen to delay paying Stormy Daniels until after the election because he didn't want to pay her at all. And after the election, it wouldn't matter. Why? Because Trump knew this was about the campaign. So there are a lot of good facts for the prosecution. And in the end, I think this is headed towards a conviction.
You've seen some of the names, Dave Aronberg, on the prosecution, possible witness list for the prosecution. Is there anybody in particular you would call that you'd be interested in their testimony?
Hope Hicks. Hope Hicks gave some different testimony when she appeared before Congress, Joe. And I'm interested in seeing what she says now. She did testify before the grand jury, and she is a Trump loyalist. She was the one who was like steaming his pants on Air Force One. And now she's going to be there to corroborate Michael Cohen. And we'll see what happens there. But that'll be a powerful witness. Trump will try to bring in politics in this, trying to say that Joe Biden is behind this. But the judge is not going to allow this to become a circus. And besides, I must add, as a state prosecutor, the thought that Joe Biden is somehow involved in this is ridiculous. I can tell you in 12 years as a state prosecutor here, I've never gotten a call from the White House about any case. It's not how it works. And for those who think, well, that's Manhattan and he wouldn't call here. Remember, in my jurisdiction in Palm Beach County, I oversee Mar-a-Lago. So if anyone would get a call, you would think I would, and never got a call. So I do think that Judge Merchan is going to keep this case tight. He's going to keep it moving. And the jury pool has to really concern Donald Trump. That's an area up there where Trump got like 12% of the vote. That's got to scare him a lot.
Lonnie, I've known you a while and worked on various issues. In fact, we're working on the transplant justice issue with Albie Shaw now. So I know how passionate you are about people being about what is right. Tell us what Michael Cohen, who I know have had prayer with before he went to jail, what does he represent to a jury when he's sitting there? Because here's a guy who went to jail for lying, but has been passionate about what he did and why he did it. Why do you feel, as an experienced attorney, that this would resonate with a jury?
First of all, thanks for getting that question from Reverend Sharpton, who is a preacher who knows about sinners taking ownership. And the testimony that you just showed, Michael, I happen to be sitting behind him wearing the same tie just to show you all that I'm the same person. He owned, Reverend, what he did wrong. He started out by saying that I am ashamed and I am contrite and I don't expect to be forgiven. I only expect to be heard. Nobody on national and international television can doubt that he took responsibility and did his time. But the federal prosecutors who work for Donald Trump, let me repeat this because this has been missed, Reverend, found that Donald Trump directed Michael Cohen to pay the money for which he did time. And they also found that he falsely booked, or at least the bookings were for legal expenses that he knew did not exist. And the new witness that we know this morning, a woman who was there when Donald Trump, as President of the United States, Joe Scarborough and I were on TV together on Crossfire about Bill Clinton. Well, this is a sitting President of the United States writing these illegal checks. That's the federal prosecutors called them illegal, not me, and they work for Trump. Writing checks from the Oval Office, Joe, signing his name to Michael Cohen to reimburse him, not to pay for his legal expenses. The federal prosecutor said that was false. So I quote the prosecutors working for Donald Trump who charged Michael Cohen, targeted Michael Cohen, and never said a word. They called him individual one until the media found that he was Donald Trump. So now we're going to have the truth come out under cross-examination. And remember, Michael Cohen went through brutal cross-examination in the New York Attorney General case. The judge heard that and found him to be truthful. So we know at least that during a cross-examination, he told the truth, and the judge made a verdict finding him to be truthful.
Calling this the hush money trial only tells a part of the story. It is that, of course, $130,000 to a porn star, but this is also about interfering in the 2016 election. Legal advisor to Michael Cohen, Lanny Davis, confirming for us this morning Michael Cohen will be a witness, and jury selection gets underway in that trial on Monday. Lanny, thanks for being here. And State Attorney for Palm Beach County, Dave Aronberg, thank you.